Remember when Castiel finally said, "I love you," after 13 years, and the empty took him before Dean could respond? And when Dean Winchester, the man who survived hell and God himself, died on a piece of rebar in a vampire den. These are the most heartbreaking deaths in Supernatural. Madison, the Mercy Kill. That feels like a betrayal. Madison's only got one episode to exist, and the show knows exactly what it's doing with that. Sam's still bleeding from Jessica, still pretending the hole in his chest is something he can outrun. And then Madison shows up, and for one brief moment, it feels like the universe owes him something normal. She's warm, she fits, and you can watch something soft open back up in Sam's face. Then the hunt turns, and the werewolf they've been chasing is her, and she didn't even know. Sam lets himself have one night of something real, and then the cure doesn't hold. When Madison asks Sam to be the one to do it, it's not heroic. It's a quiet, devastating act of love dressed up as violence. The first lesson this show ever teaches you, that the kindest thing this life asks will always be the thing that costs the most. Benny, the friend Dean wasn't allowed to keep. Benny shouldn't work. A vampire and a hunter finding brotherhood in purgatory, where survival's the only language, shouldn't produce loyalty that deep. And yet, down there, they build something real, and then they get topside, and the world can't hold it. Benny gets framed, gets pulled back into the story people want him to be, and Dean fights for him anyway. The universe still makes him pay. Benny lets Dean kill him so he can return to purgatory and pull Sam out. The one genuine friend Dean made in the worst place he's ever been, and it ends with Dean holding the blade. It's not just death. It's the show telling Dean Winchester he doesn't get to keep things. John Winchester, the deal that finally makes him a dad. John's not an easy character to grieve. He's driven and distant, and he turns his sons into soldiers before they get to be children. But then, Dean's dying, and you watch John make the only choice that finally tells you who he is underneath all that damage. He trades his life, and every year of revenge he's got left just to bring Dean back. It's not a clean redemption arc. It's a man realizing too late what his sons actually are to him, and paying for that in the only currency this world accepts. The thing he whispers to Dean before he goes, the thing we never hear, is 20 years of unsaid things finally trying to get out. Kevin Tran, the kid who never gets to be a kid. Kevin Tran was supposed to go to Princeton. That detail never stops hurting. He was a normal kid, and then fate grabbed him by the collar and said, "You're a prophet now, and your life is over." Kevin tries anyway, decodes tablets, survives Crowley, loses everything, and keeps going. When he dies, it's not in a battle worth dying in. It's collateral damage from Metatron, carried out by an angel wearing Sam's face, made possible because Dean let that angel in trying to save Sam. Kevin dies because the Winchesters love each other too much. His ghost coming back later just twists the knife. Kevin Tran deserved Princeton. He deserved everything. Charlie Bradbury, the family member who gets punished for helping. If you were a fan in 2015, you remember where you were when Charlie died. She's what it looks like when someone chooses this life freely, with her whole heart. She's brilliant and funny, and she brings a lightness into the bunker that neither Winchester knows how to make on their own. She's chosen family, which in this universe is somehow even more sacred. And then the show decides to make a point about the mark of Cain, and Charlie pays for it, hunted down and dying alone in a motel bathroom. The image doesn't fit her. That's exactly why the fandom never forgave it. Charlie deserved a death that looked like her life. Ellen and Joe Harville, the moment a mother refuses to leave. Ellen lost her husband to hunting and swore she wouldn't lose her daughter too. Joe became a hunter anyway, because that's what grief does. It turns danger into the only place that feels honest. They grow into something remarkable, a mother and daughter who can hold their own in the worst rooms. Then Meg sends hellhounds, and the whole thing becomes a slow, aching countdown. Joe takes a hit saving Dean. There's no fixing it. Ellen sends Sam and Dean forward, holds her daughter's hand, and chooses to die with her rather than survive the absence. What you remember isn't the heroism. You remember a mother who refused to let her daughter die alone. If your chest feels like something's sitting on it right now, yeah, same. Subscribing keeps us going, because we're not done finding the places this show buried its knives. Crowley, the demon who died, proving. He was more than one. The joke of loving Crowley is that you're not supposed to. He's manipulation wearing a suit, switching between enemy and ally for years, with this infuriating warmth underneath that he won't acknowledge. And then he does. When Crowley drives that angel blade into himself to seal Lucifer away, he's not doing it for leverage. He's choosing a world where the Winchesters live, cleanly and finally. Then the show takes even that away, because Lucifer comes back anyway, and the sacrifice doesn't hold. Crowley's death becomes a tiny, devastating thesis. Even the King of Hell finally did the right thing. The universe shrugged. Rowena McLeod, the goodbye. Sam was always warned about Rowena enters as a villain and exits as family. And the distance between those two things is one of the most quietly earned arcs in 15 seasons. She and Sam build something neither of them has a clean word for. The detail that wrecks fans every time is that Rowena told Sam years before it mattered that in every version of the future, he'd be the one to kill her. Not as a threat, almost as a comfort. When she sacrifices herself in the final season, it's old Rowena's worst nightmare and new Rowena's finest moment. Sam standing there holding all of that is one of the most devastating images the show ever gave us. Mary Winchester, the second death that breaks. The second chance. Mary's first death is the match that lights the whole series. But the second death is different, because by then, the show's done something extraordinary. It brought her back. After years of carrying her like a ghost, she's suddenly there, real and complicated. That second chance is what makes losing her again unbearable. Jack kills her by accident, wanting her gone for 1 second, without understanding what 1 second means when you're that powerful. Then he tries to fix it, and he can't. Mary's second death doesn't just take her again. It proves the Winchesters can't keep anything, not even the things they bleed for. Jessica Moore, the normal life that burns on the ceiling. Jessica Moore is Sam's proof that he could be somebody else. When the pilot begins, Sam isn't a hunter. He's a person, a law student with a future that looks like other people's futures. Jessica's the evidence that it was real. And then Dean knocks on the door, and the universe makes sure Sam understands the price. She dies the same way Mary did, on the ceiling, burning. And the parallel isn't subtle. It's a message written in fire. You don't get to leave. You were never going to get to leave. Jessica's death is the show slamming a door and making Sam walk back into the dark. And the tragedy is, he probably already knew it was going to close. Sam Winchester, the first death that felt final. By season 2, you don't have the comfort of knowing people come back yet. When Sam gets stabbed in the back at Cold Oak, it feels like the universe breaking a promise it didn't know it made. But it's Dean's reaction that destroys you. Dean's been running on fumes and stubbornness with the singular purpose of keeping Sam alive, and now Sam isn't. Watching Jensen Ackles hold that loss quietly, without theatrics, is one of the finest moments in the series. It's the episode that tells you exactly what these brothers are to each other, not just family. The only reason the other one can stand upright. Bobby Singer, the idiot who held the house together. There's a specific grief for the person who was always just there, reliably, like a wall you've leaned on so long you forgot it was doing the work. Bobby gets shot in the head, and the episode lets you live inside his mind as he fights to stay useful one last time, dragging himself through regret to give the boys coordinates they need. Even dying, he can't stop taking care of them. When he smiles and calls them idiots before he goes, he's choosing in his last conscious moment to make it easier for them instead of himself. He never asked to be their father, he just was. Castiel, the love confession that gets swallowed by darkness. Castiel begins as something ancient and cold and barely legible and becomes, episode by episode, someone who chooses the Winchesters over everything and keeps choosing them even when the choosing ruins him. The empty deal is already cruel before it pays out because it means happiness becomes a countdown. When the moment arrives, Cass says everything he's been carrying for years, all of it, out loud, finally.
You changed me, Dean.
Why does this sound like a goodbye?
Because it is. I love you.
And the empty takes him before Dean can respond. That's the wound the fandom can't close, not the death itself, the interruption, the universe stealing the moment before it could become something they could carry. Cass gave everything, and Dean never got to answer. Dean Winchester, the death that finally stuck. Dean's died so many times, the show trains you to wait for the reset. Someone makes a deal. A loophole opens. Dean Winchester doesn't stay dead. That's exactly why the barn destroys people. Because this time, there's no reset and you can feel it in the way Jensen Ackles plays it, with this terrible, quiet calm. It's not the apocalypse, it's a hunt that goes wrong on a Tuesday. The heartbreak isn't just the dying, it's Dean accepting it.
Just stop. It's okay. It's okay. It's good. It's good. We had one hell of a ride, man.
He tells Sam he's proud of him, asks him to keep living, and you realize Dean always believed this is how it ends for people like him. He made his peace with it a long time ago. The audience never could. Which one breaks you every time? Drop it in the comments and subscribe for more, because we're not done yet.